Have you ever noticed that your cat treats you completely differently than everyone else in your house? Maybe they sleep with you but ignore your partner. Maybe they follow you into the kitchen but won't even look at your roommate. Maybe they let you pet their belly but scratch anyone else who tries. Most people think it's random, a personality quirk, just cat being a cat. But here's what nobody tells you. Your cat didn't randomly land on a favorite. They ran a selection process. A quiet, invisible evaluation that's been going on since the first week they met you. And the criteria they use to choose? It has nothing to do with who feeds them. Let's break down exactly how your cat picks their person. And what the final sign on this list reveals is something most owners in multi-person households have never even considered. It was never about who fills the food bowl. Who feeds the cat? In most households, that question has a clear answer. And most people assume that's the person the cat loves most. Food equals loyalty. Simple, right? But here's what most people don't realize. Research on domestic cat social behavior consistently shows that the primary feeder is rarely the cat's preferred companion. Cats can absolutely associate a person with food without forming a deep emotional bond with them. Think about it from the cat's perspective. Food is a transaction. It happens on a schedule, it's predictable. But emotional safety? That's earned through thousands of tiny, unpredictable moments. The way someone moves around the house, how they react when the cat approaches, whether they reach for the cat or let the cat come to them. A study published in Current Biology found that cats overwhelmingly preferred human social interaction over food when given the choice. Not some cats, the majority. They chose a person's attention over a full bowl of their favorite treat. So if someone in your house does all the feeding but your cat still sleeps on your pillow every night, that's not confusion. That's a very deliberate choice. The food person handles survival. You handle something deeper. They chose the person who respects their boundaries. Why does your cat love someone who barely pays attention to them and avoid the person who's constantly trying to pet them? It seems backwards, but in the world of cats, it makes perfect sense. Cats are control-driven animals. Every interaction they have is filtered through one question. Did I initiate this? When a person reaches for a cat without being invited, the cat's nervous system reads it as a small boundary violation. Once is nothing, but hundreds of uninvited touches over weeks and months create a pattern, and cats remember patterns. Now compare that to the person in the house who just sits on the couch and minds their own business. They don't chase the cat. They don't call the cat's name 12 times. They're just there. And slowly, quietly, the cat starts moving closer. First the same room, then the same couch, then right next to them. Behavioral researchers call this the principle of voluntary approach. Cats form stronger bonds with individuals who allow the cat to control the timing and intensity of every interaction. The person who gives the cat space is, paradoxically, the person the cat can't stay away from. Your cat didn't choose the person who wanted them the most. They chose the person who needed them the least. And that's not rejection, that's respect. And hey, if this is explaining something you've watched happen in your own home, take a second to hit like and subscribe. It's how we reach more cat people who actually care about understanding why their cat does what they do. Your voice is a fingerprint to them. Have you ever noticed your cat perk up the second you start talking, but completely ignore someone else in the room saying the exact same words? That's not coincidence. Your cat has filed your voice as a separate category from every other human sound they hear. A 2022 study from the University of Paris tested this directly. Researchers played recordings of the cat's owner and strangers speaking the same phrases. When strangers spoke, the cats barely reacted. But the moment their owner's voice played, the cats showed immediate behavioral changes. Ear rotation, pupil dilation, movement toward the speaker. But here's the part that matters for multi-person households. The effect was strongest when the owner used a high-pitched, affectionate tone. That soft, baby voice you use without thinking. The one you'd be embarrassed about if anyone heard you. That exact voice is the one your cat has tuned their entire auditory system to recognize. Other people in your home might talk to the cat, too. But if they use a flat, adult tone, or if they only speak to the cat when giving commands, the cat's brain processes it as background noise. Your voice, the warm one, the soft one, is the only one that registers as emotionally meaningful. You didn't just become your cat's favorite voice. You became the only voice that makes them feel something. They memorized your schedule down to the minute. Why does your cat show up in the hallway at 6:47 a.m. every single day right before your alarm goes off? And why do they never do this for anyone else in the house? Most people think their cat has a general sense of mourning, but here's what's actually happening. Your cat has built an internal model of your entire daily routine, and it's shockingly precise. Cats are pattern machines. They track when you wake up, when you eat, when you sit down, when you go to the bathroom, when you move to the bedroom at night. And they don't just observe these patterns, they synchronize to them. Researchers studying domestic cat behavior found that bonded cats gradually shift their own circadian rhythm to mirror their preferred person's schedule. This means in a household with multiple people on different schedules, your cat isn't tracking the household. They're tracking you, your alarm, your footsteps, your rhythm, everyone else's background. You are the clock they set their entire day by. And when your routine changes, when you wake up late, when you come home at an unusual time, they notice. Not vaguely, immediately. Because the model they built inside their head has one primary variable, and it's you. They give you the behaviors they give no one else. Does your cat show their belly to you but never to your partner? Do they knead on your lap but sit stiffly on someone else's? Do they slow blink at you from across the room but stare at everyone else without blinking at all? Most people notice these differences but don't realize what they mean. Each of those behaviors is a tier of trust, and your cat assigns them individually to every person in the house. The belly exposure is the highest physical vulnerability a cat can offer. They're showing you the part of their body that, if attacked, would end their life. They don't show it to someone they merely tolerate. They show it to someone whose presence makes them feel invincible. The slow blink, as researchers at the University of Sussex confirmed, is a deliberate signal of trust and affection. Cats don't do it reflexively. They choose who receives it. And in multi-person households, cameras have shown that some cats exclusively slow blink at one person and never direct it at anyone else living under the same roof. Kneading, head bunting, following you to the bathroom, sleeping in your specific spot when you leave the house. None of these are generic cat things. They are personalized expressions of a bond your cat has decided only you deserve. Your cat doesn't treat everyone differently because they're moody. They treat everyone differently because they've ranked everyone. And you're at the top. They absorb your emotions but nobody else's. Have you ever had a terrible day and noticed your cat suddenly appear out of nowhere, pressing against you, purring, refusing to leave your side? And then watched that same cat completely ignore your partner when they're going through something similar? That's not a coincidence. And it's not random. Your cat is emotionally attuned to you in a way they are not attuned to anyone else in the home. Research on feline social cognition shows that cats can detect changes in their owner's emotional state through a combination of vocal cues, body language, and subtle chemical signals like cortisol in your sweat. But here's the critical detail. They respond selectively. A cat monitors the emotional state of their chosen person far more closely than anyone else they live with. Think about what that means. In a house full of people, your cat has essentially decided that your feelings are the ones that matter to their own emotional equilibrium. When you're stressed, they're unsettled. When you're calm, they're calm. Your emotional state has become their emotional weather. They're not empathic toward humans in general. They're empathic toward you specifically. That's not instinct, that's a choice. You are the reason they feel safe in this world. Remember at the beginning when I said the final sign is something most owners in multi-person households have never even considered? This is it. Your cat didn't choose you because you're the best pet owner in the house. They didn't choose you because you give the best treats or play with them the most. They chose you because of something far more fundamental than any of that. The 2019 Oregon State University attachment study found that cats form secure attachment bonds with one primary figure, not a household, not a group. One person. And the factor that predicted who that person would be wasn't feeding, wasn't play, and wasn't even time spent together. It was emotional consistency. The person who was predictable. The person who was calm. The person whose energy felt the same whether it was Monday morning or Sunday night. Your cat scanned every person in your home and asked one question. Which of these humans makes the world feel steady? And they landed on you. That's why they sleep with you and not someone else. That's why they follow you and ignore others. That's why your sadness reaches them when nobody else's does. You are not just their favorite person. You are their anchor, the one fixed point in a world they can't fully control. Every other person in your home is someone your cat lives with. You are the one they live for.